Hello and welcome to the GMIHub Online. We're so glad you're joining us today. Today is our Songwriters Circle. We're going to be highlighting some of the artists that are on our GMIHub Family Christmas Volume 1. And my name is Dale Borland.
And I'm Cheryl Dewick, and with us we have three fabulous artists. We have Rob Rose from Burlington. We have Vili V from Hamilton, and we have Victor Jones all the way from Brampton, right?
Yes.
All three of these gentlemen have written songs for our GMIHub Family Christmas album. And if you are interested, you have got to get a copy. We purposely got it out early enough so you can purchase it for your loved ones for Christmas. So if you want to get yourself a copy, go to gmihub.bandcamp.com and you can get your copy and you can hear these fabulous songs. But right now, reason why we have these fabulous gentlemen here is because they're going to tell us their story behind their song and also just behind their art. So without further ado, let's see, which one should we introduce? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's start with you, Vili, because you have that debonair hat on.
Oh,
Vili,
you like it?
Yeah, we like that hat, Vili.
Trademark.
Vili's known as a contemporary crooner, but I'm not going to say any more about that because I want Vili to introduce himself. Tell us your story. How did you get into music?
Well, before I get into it, I just want to thank you guys so much for having me on your show. So thank you, Cheryl and Dale. Let's give them a hand. Yay!
Good luck.
All right. So, sorry, what was the question again?
How did you get into the music? How did you become a contemporary crooner?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I think it started with my parents' record collection. They had, they would always play songs after church. I remember one in particular, Elvis Presley's How Great Thou Art. And actually, I have it with me if you want to see it. This is just, that was the one that they always would spin in the afternoon. But then there was all these other artists that they played, Johnny Cash, Slovenian folk music, so many different genres. And of course, I heard all these different songs on the radio. There was country radio, there was pop radio, right? There was oldies radio, whatever else. And as I got older, I got exposed to the blues and jazz and those type of things. Hi, Dale.
There's Daryl. Awesome.
Yay. And so what was I saying?
You're exposed to blues and jazz.
Yeah, so I was just soaking up all these different sounds. And as I got older, I would sing just for myself. And I remember one day somebody heard me sing or knew that I sang. They said, hey, Vili could sing this, or, for like a talent show. I remember it was in high school. And I was so nervous in front of, there was about 400 or 500 students. And it was just, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen here. But then they were just so appreciative. The girls were screaming. It was fantastic. So from there, it grew. But I think the very first performance I had was in church. And that gospel music was always a big part of what I did.
Mm. And when you started, I got a little distracted there, but you were imitating Elvis at the time, is that right?
Yeah, I was a big Elvis fan, and so then I started to do competitions and those type of things, and that's how people got to know me. And slowly, people started asking me to do performances, sing for their wedding shower, private functions, and then I started to do theaters and that sort of thing. But I never wanted to stay in that. It was more of an influence to help you to know how to perform in front of an audience, and that sort of thing. But I always wanted to write my own songs and that sort of thing. So when I got out of high school, I said, man, I got to take music. So I went to Mohawk College and I studied jazz and classical music. And that was awesome because we were doing arranging, jazz harmony, tonal harmony, all these different things, tools that I now use when I write my songs. So, yeah.
Who are your influences with your songwriting?
Oh, there's lots of them. I really early influence was Roy Orbison because his song structures, like say a song like In Dreams, it has like an A section, a B section, a C section, just keeps going somewhere. I mean, it'll repeat, but it's more like symphonic, right? So I was very influenced by that. Of course, all those Elvis songs that I enjoyed. And then just a wide variety of pop music and gospel, just anything that would prick my ear, be like, you know, it kind of stays in the back of your mind, and then it filters through what you're doing, you know, later on, right?
Yeah. And now you've done 3 albums. Is this 3 albums now?
No, I've actually recorded 7 albums.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. I saw 3. Good. That's awesome. How long have you been doing music then?
I started really in the mid 90s, and then when I got out of college in 2000, I said, now I really got to do it. So it was about 2002 that I recorded my debut original album, and I was able to get a distribution deal with EMI Records Music Canada, so that was pretty cool. That kind of started me further along in the original music thing.
That is awesome. And you have written some extremely good songs. I think of Indigo Blue. I think of there's just some really good songs, guys, that you need to hear. And Vili has a website. He's got a YouTube channel. And I think most of it is just Vili V, pretty much. Yeah,
my website's vilimusic.com, VILI music.com. The YouTube channel, I think, it's a longer one. Vili V.
Yeah.
With Facebook.
So I know that you've released The Joy of Christmas, both with us as well as on your own album. Yes. So tell us the story specifically behind The Joy of Christmas. What was your inspiration?
Well, first of all, I knew I was going to write a Christmas song.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there's stuff going on in the world, you know, hard times and that sort of thing. And I started before COVID, right? I started to write, I think it was about February that I started to write it. And then COVID hit. And then, of course, some of the lyrics changed at that point. So I was just refining it and writing it for quite a few months, was sticking with me. You know, sometimes some songs are like this, and that come to you, and then other songs take a bit of time. You're just refining them, and then once I had the basic form of the song of what I want to say and the lyrics, then I start to do the arrangement of it, the strings and all that, the bells and all the little things that would go on the song, on the recording.
Do you play an instrument?
Yeah, I play guitar and piano, and I've done some other instruments as well. Actually, when I was a kid, I studied accordion for about 2 or 3 years, so I used to play that as well.
Oh, and you used the accordion to play The Joy of Christmas. I can just see it now.
I don't do it on the record, but yeah, I guess so.
Okay, that's for live performances.
I find that, you know, Vinny, Vili, I was just thinking that the inspiration you must get for different chord progressions from different instruments.
Right.
Like for instance, when you're doing The Joy of Christmas, you probably have more of a piano feel to that. I don't know. What was your instrument?
Yeah, I did that one on the piano.
Yeah.
And actually, the first thing that I worked on was that song. So I chose my key, and I said to myself, hey, I'll try to see about 4 bars.
Oh, you muted your mic there. Your mic is muted there, Vili. Say that again.
Is that better?
Much better.
Here.
You said 4 bars and you cut out.
Okay. Yeah, I'd write about 4 bars of it, the chord progression, and then I would just, you know, it just comes because you've done all the homework. You've lifted songs, you know, the chord changes from all these different songs over time that you love, and you've done arrangements for other music, and now you're able to use that to arrange your own music. And you know,
Do you have a sounding board, like a person who you say, hey, I want you to check this out, what do you think? And you take their, not necessarily advice, but their what they might say to heart, and you go, okay. I mean,
well, I'll show family and say, what do you think of this? But usually I know, like, if I don't like it, I don't pursue it. I just kind of keep it. If I started a little bit of it, I just stow it away. But if I know it's good, then I'll keep working on it. But sometimes, like I say, it comes pretty fast, you know, and I'll record, say, just like me on guitar on my iPhone, doing a melody, you know, dummy lyrics or whatever. And that's how it starts.
It sounded like you had a lyric and then it kind of changed direction whenever COVID hit. So it was almost like a natural thing. It wasn't, it sounds like it wasn't forced. I could be wrong, but when you write the song easily, the lyrics just kind of came to you.
Yeah, because I wanted to bring some happiness through the song to people's lives, you know, especially now during this pandemic. You know, people need some good cheer, some good inspiration. And I'm just thankful online they've told me that that's what the song has been doing for them. So I'm so grateful for that. And it's a blessing, you know.
Vili, did you ever collaborate for this particular song, or any of your songs for that matter?
These songs, no, I didn't collaborate. I have in the past, long ago, but I did find that probably my best work is when I do it myself. It just because you know where you want to take it, you know, instinctively or lyrically or that sort of thing. So sometimes a song can have more metaphor to it or whatever. And then other times it's just more straightforward, like this song mostly is just, you know, straightforward, simple lyric.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
we're gonna probably get a chance to hear a sample of your song.
Okay.
Cheryl could set that up for us, or Daryl, and then we get a chance to hear it, and we can talk a little bit afterward about the progression of the melody, and people will be able to hear it now. So let's get listen to Vili's Christmas song, "The Joy of Christmas," right here on GMIHub Online.
I like
When snowflakes do appear, minds are filled with cheer. Children jump and shout, 'cause a change will come about. But we're caught in a mess, this world's in distress. Angels wipe their eyes. One precious gift will get us through these times. The joy of Christmas, a wish throughout the year, for laughter and of giving, for holding loved ones near. Oh, how we've missed these blessed gifts. Will a miracle appear this Christmas?
There it is.
You can actually hear the nice melody coming through in there, and the horn is just so. It's to me in the chorus when that, it's like really neat.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Some great instrumentation on that piece, man. It's great.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Would you say this is one of your best pieces that you've made there, Vili?
I think so. I really wanted to create a wall of sound with this one. I don't know if I achieved it, but I did put a lot of stuff on it. I remember we were in the studio and just to record the bed track with the band, we spent about 2 hours. I was, conducting them and saying what I wanted on it, refining it. It was real fun. I really enjoyed it. So I hope that comes across in the song.
So one thing I wanted to talk about was the hook. What part of the song to you is like the hook of the song?
I guess the chorus, because there's that pre-hook where it sets it up, and then the joy of Christmas. But then you also have little instrumental, little ear candy kind of hooks, right? You know that.
I agree. I agree 100%. That to me is the hook. It's got that. Yeah, I totally agree. That's one thing. I think that's a cool melody. Anyways.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, it was just it was a real pleasure to record it. I have to tell you, before I started to write it, I prayed that I could write something that would really touch people's lives and make a difference, hopefully. So
very cool.
So
we thank you for that. We gotta move on to our next artist. So we appreciate you very much, Vili. So let's maybe Cheryl, do you want to talk to Victor Jones?
Sure. And before we do that, I just want to remind our viewers that you are watching GMIHub Online. Tonight is Songwriters Circle. This is our second Songwriters Circle, where we are featuring three artists from our recently released GMIHub Family Christmas album, which is a compilation of original written music from original artists who wrote Christmas songs, and we put them together. They've allowed us to put it in a compilation. You just heard from Vili V, who we played his song. It's a beautiful song. That's just one sample of what you will be hearing. It is such a treat to get. If you want to get your copy, please go visit gmihub.bandcamp.com and download your copy. And if you are watching this, please share the experience, because it'll be so nice if other people got to see who these artists were. And it's a great way to support the Canadian gospel music artist industry. So now, without further ado, I'll go to you, Victor. Victor, how are you doing?
Hi, Cheryl. I'm very good, thank you.
That's good.
Like Vili said, it is an honor to be part of this project. It's been a lot of fun, and to find this community to work together on this. And you've done a great job at promoting what's been done. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. We wouldn't be able to even have this album without any of your contributions. So thank you so much for your contribution to this album. So Victor, tell us. You are a multifaceted young man. In the sense, yeah. You have got. You're not only a songwriter, but I think you are a digital artist. And I thought I read something else about you. But tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the music scene.
Yes. Well, I grew up in a Christian home. I'm one of those preacher's kids, PKs. So, I was surrounded by everything that went on in the church ever since I was a wee lad. Mm-hmm. And so I was always given opportunities to be involved with music. And in school, I was involved with choirs and singing groups and a band. So I loved music, and I love different genres. So it's not just like one style or anything. I guess what took off in my life is I started to write some music, and this is a lot of fun. It's very fulfilling. And so I just got into storytelling and in some cases, thematic songs. And I listened back to 13 years ago when I started, and I was horrible. But when you love doing it, you get better. You get better and you keep improving because that love for music and the love for God, you want to share truth with people. And so that's how it got going.
Beautiful. And so any parents that are watching, this is what you need to do. Get your kids to
Mhm.
start writing songs, and then they'll be like Victor and they'll continue writing songs, saying they love doing this.
Yes.
So so that's, you have an interesting background. You're basically a PK,
Mhm.
preacher's kid, and you got into music that way. Now, there was an interesting name that I have seen floating around behind your name, which is the seedless watermelons. What is the seedless watermelons outside of your favorite fruit, maybe?
Not even my favorite fruit, but that's a good story there. My daughter is a singer, and she was in a group that they formed called I forget it, the Scattered Seed. And every time they came to practice at our house, we had to give them something to eat. And every time, oh, we've got some watermelon, so we're gonna give this watermelon to you, and always seedless watermelons. So I said jokingly, someday I'm gonna call a band the Seedless Watermelons. And just kind of, there's too many Victor Joneses out there. I did a search for Victor Jones, and I can't even find my own music. So I thought I would just call myself the Seedless Watermelons and hope that others would jump on board, like that Dale Borland guy and others. So yeah, it was just a bit of an identity shift there, just to have
Okay.
some.
I love what he's done with the whole concept. He's allowed it to be kind of a production company in itself too, which is kind of neat. The butterfly, sorry, the dragonfly. I mean, tell us a bit about that, Victor.
Well, yeah, I decided we would get a few videographers together, and that includes Dale, and of course your husband, Cheryl, also is in video. But I think it's good for video people to work together. You can get ideas, and contribution means everything. We can't afford these big budget videos. So why not get a number of people who can work together and contribute their own special skills to a project? And then, they'll help you, you help them. It's a good way of getting your budget down, at least,
Mhm.
and having them part of the project.
Yeah, there's a bit of a sci-fi angle you're taking on it as well. You're calling it the collective.
Right. All those Star Trek people will get what the collective is. It's it's the Borg. The Borg, they all work together very well, and they're that's the whole idea, that we work well together when we work together.
So let's talk about your song now, the one that's on the album.
The song that we have here is "Unto Us." It was actually originally written as Fairest Lord Jesus. What? Fairest Lord Jesus? But I have a bit of a history with that song. My brother-in-law plays a very amazing classical guitar, and he plays it with arpeggio. So that's when you break up the chords into single notes. A very beautiful rendition of Fairest Lord Jesus. And I wanted to kind of carry that sound into the recording. Now, one of the projects the GMIHub had suggested is that we take a traditional song or a hit and remake it, remodel it completely. So I did, and it doesn't sound like Fairest Lord Jesus anymore, does it?
Yes,
But,
that's the idea. To be honest, that's one of the tricks. We take a song and we remodel it, it becomes something different. And that's actually a great technique that songwriters who are listening right now can do as well. Take a song you like and take it apart and redo it. And it doesn't sound like the original because it's you worked on it. And Victor, there's a great point of what you made your song turned into something unique.
Absolutely,
Yes.
it did. It did. So was it so coming up with the words, like walk us through that technique. Like you started with Ferris Lord Jesus, and did you change the melody first or did you change the words first? How did you go through that process?
Well, first of all, I muted the voice track. So I was starting from scratch around the guitar, and I was playing it and I was thinking, I just want to change this key right here and change that key there. And then I started singing over the music. Everything had been done, like percussion to guitar. But as I changed the lyrics, the melody changed. And then I started changing instruments because it was a little more rocky than First Lord Jesus. And so it just kind of changed once the lyrics got changed again, and the melody.
Was it
Mhm.
hard? Was it hard to come by the lyrics? Like, did you find the lyrics hard to write?
That's very interesting. Actually, I should break that down. It started with the meter of the words. Sometimes you can get a meter, like that's how you break up how you say words. And then you can build a melody on that. So there was a bit of the meter writing that I did before I did the melody. So I actually got a chance to write a core of the lyrics first, and then I chose the melody.
Mm.
So yeah, it was kind of a fun process.
Mhm.
And did your go ahead? Did your wife help you with this too?
No, no, she pretty much leaves me alone, but I do get feedback from her, which
And so
is good.
what was the inspiration though for writing it? What was your inspiration?
Well, you said, let's do a Christmas project.
Oh, you're
So I
so
said,
fun.
there it
Oh,
is. That's what I'm going to do.
that was your inspiration. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you did. So the lyrics were not exactly easy, or were they something that you had? It was very purposeful. Were you
It was
thinking story or
purposeful.
were you thinking song? What were you doing when you were writing?
For me, it was the theme. It was like the mystery of Christmas. Like,
Hmm.
why would God choose to do it this way? What's
Hmm.
like? There's a lot of things that go counterculture, counter logic, that God would deal with the problem of sin this way.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
he kind of broke the norm, right? Like, let's have a virgin and put in her the Son of God.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that going to affect what happens to her life? All these inconceivable ideas put together by the one who knows best.
Hmm.
And so I just thought there's so many factors here that are amazing and mysterious. Why would God send his son as a pauper to, it's like counterintuitive, unless you learn to trust in our creator who really is doing more than what the surface indicates.
Hmm. Yeah. Very
So
true.
I thought that was an interesting slant on the song. And I thought I'd just pursue that.
Have you ever written a song with collaborating with someone else?
Um, kind of. I would like to do that. I did a song with my brother,
Hmm.
Stephen. You know Stephen.
Yeah.
He,
Steven's very talented. Yeah.
he is. Well, I had this basic song called In Harmony, and I started singing it. And my brother is very good at picking up harmony, so he started singing with me. And every time we got together, we would sing this little ditty. And eventually, I put a chorus to it and finished it.
Hmm.
But yeah, I haven't done that by rule, but I would like to do more of that.
Is he featured
And
on your
I know
song?
you've helped us.
Is he featured on your song, your brother?
Actually, he's been on a couple of songs. He was on our Canadian 150th anniversary song that Dale also helped out with. And he did harmonies for that.
Awesome.
So
But he wasn't featured on the Onto Us song.
No, I had to do that myself.
Ah, okay. Awesome. Well, we're going to listen to this in a few minutes, but before you do, I know that I'm going to touch into the digital art side, and when you see this, the lyric video, you'll see some art that's behind there that was actually designed by Victor Jones himself. But I don't know if I should let you see it first, and then and then Victor, I want you to explain to the audience just your inspiration behind that digital art. So I'm just going to cue that our music gets set up so we can hear a sample of your song.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the melody and hook as well after the video. That'd be a great idea. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I started playing around with woodworking after I retired, and I've always loved woodworking. I just didn't follow it through. I found this nice little piece of wood at the cottage we were at and brought it home with me and started working on it. And then I said, I don't know if I can complete this. I'm just gonna digitally finish this piece. And ended up being the cover art for the song. So I actually did some digital painting with Corel Photo Paint, and added in some words you can see on the art. But yeah, it was kind of a almost accidental project because you gave us the opportunity to do the artwork, and I thought, yeah, let's do this.
Awesome. Well, let's have a look. Let's have a look and a listen to your song Unto Us by Victor Jones.
Wrapped as a newborn in the manger, Jesus is given to us, bearing our form as predetermined, dignity drawn from the dust. How should he who formed the heavens be the least of these? Lowly pauper, yet King of kings, what curious quandary of peace. Chosen a virgin pledged to Mary, remedy enter he must. Angel proclaiming unto Mary, Messiah is born unto us. Now my soul will praise the Lord, let my spirit rejoice. He responds to a humble heart, appreciative love and choice. Here he is, our eternal hope. He has made his
That's the song. This is Victor's song. It's so
Let it come. See how the lyrics really tie in with the rhythm, and you were talking earlier, Victor, about the meter. Yeah.
So, audience, if you want to get your copy of this, now I know this song has already gotten some traction as it is, but if you want to get your copy, just go to gmihub.bandcamp.com and you can get your copy not only of this song, but of every song from these original artists. And it's a great way to support, again, Canadian gospel music artists. Our industry needs that support, doesn't it?
So let's get into the melody and maybe the hook. Victor, what do you think the hook is in your song?
I tried to think about that, and I didn't intentionally write a hook for it, but I think there might be a couple of things that are hooks. Of course, it could be a melody, it could be a number of things. I was thinking that it maybe was a couple of phrases that might have caught your ear, like dignity drawn from the dust, things that.
That's a lyrical hook. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, lyrical hook. And what the heck
I
is
noticed
it?
the melody of la 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 la. That kind of is for me it seemed that lays in there a couple of times, and that it brings you into it.
That's an interesting, because everybody will perceive different hooks, I think. I think one of the hooks that we sometimes don't consider is a video hook. Like, for instance, when Vili was showing his video, like, I was paying attention all the much more to the song when I was watching the video. And I think sometimes you watch a video to see what happens and you get hooked, not necessarily by the music, but what happens around the music.
Right, and the visual actually is a good thing to remember when you think of the song. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Like YouTube, for instance, they now have a YouTube function where you can just listen to music. It's like, okay. So
that's really
and
cool.
other hooks. I think that's about it.
That's good. No, that's good. I'm glad you brought that. I just I mean, it's great to hear that the way you produced it it's really it's very technical, but yet there's a weird type of instrumentation that it brings it to. There's the drumming, and then there's the keyboard, and the guitar that you took it down low in the mix, or is it in the mix at all? I couldn't hear the guitar.
Okay, yeah, it's more of a pick. Yeah, it's a little quieter. Okay. It's a bit of a lower octave there.
That's amazing how you can take an instrument and use it as part of the building blocks, and it ends up being complementary and not a major part of the song.
Yeah, it kind of affected things. Yeah.
Well, it was a good job there, Victor, and we're so glad that we're able to include that onto our album. And I know you've been a huge promoter of it, so we thank you so much for that as well, for your support. And I love
what you. Album.
Awesome. And I love what you said earlier about the videographers working together. But one of I'll say this right now, one of our hearts at GMIHub is really to encourage unity and community, which is what Victor was talking about, mentorship and talent growth. And not only for videographers, but anybody involved in the music and arts industry, especially if you're representing the gospel. Not to sound mean, we should be working together. I mean, the Bible talks about that we should be working in unity, because that's when we are blessed. That's when our talents are blessed. So thank you, Victor, for saying that, because I was just about to pop up and go, yes, that's an encouraging community statement right there.
Very true.
So that's awesome. One thing I know I haven't said, I keep telling people, go to gmihub.bandcamp.com to get your copy of this fabulous compilation album. But also, if you are enjoying this kind of a setting where we're meeting with songwriters and we're learning about them, we're learning about their songs, why not share the experience with some other people, so that you can other people can learn about these fabulous artists as well. And two, if you like what we're doing, why not subscribe, like and subscribe? Because you know what? I know I haven't really told anybody, but it'd be really, really awesome if we had 100 subscribers by the end of the year. I think it'd just be awesome. So why don't you become part of that challenge, and we'll figure out what we'll do to reward you. But right now, I want to, someone's been waiting in the wings all the way in Burlington. It's Robert. Are you still there, Robert?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Robert, how you doing?
Fine, how about you?
I'm good. Robert, it's so fun having you on. Like, Robert and I go back, I don't even know how long. We used to sing at the same church, and
about 30 years. About 31
30 years? Yep, when I was a baby. No.
Okay, whatever you say.
Oh, it's awesome to have you on. And one thing with Robert that I know, he's got one awesome tenor voice, and I know he's sung with some various groups, but I don't want to steal your thunder. Robert, why don't you tell us your background? I won't steal your thunder on this one.
Well, I was the eldest of five. I was born into a jazz family. My dad was Glenn Miller style jazz. And up until I was 8 years old, it was jazz all the time. And like the Glenn Miller style music, he played the vibes. I learned how to play the vibes like Lionel Hampton, but not near as good as he did. I learned how to play trombone, trumpet. I was singing harmonies with my mother and another lady as a trio when I was 8 years old. So that's where the harmonies first got started. The family band was happening right from the time we're kids. And when I went to high school, I got involved in Carrotport High School, Briarcrest Bible Institute, Saskatchewan, southern Saskatchewan. Got involved in a choir that ended up, when you auditioned, you got to travel if you're good enough. And somehow, by the grace of God, I got to travel. I was 15 then. And later on, Bible school in Kelowna, and was involved in music there. And then Edmonton, was involved in a group called Faith Unlimited. It was my first interracial group I was involved with, soul gospel group, a cappella, and they were called Faith Unlimited. And one of the guys from that group moved out here, and I've known him now for about 38 years. And he had a group called Proclamation Quartet. And so eventually over time, when I came out here, I got involved with Southern gospel groups as well. Sunshine City, Middle Cross, worked with Sandy McGregor from Torchman and other people. Was a little bit involved with CGMA, but kind of at an arm's length. And but anyway, with Faith, or with Proclamation Quartet rather, the group that I was with for about 5 years, we went to Compton, California, did some music down there. I arranged a lot of the music, a cappella and so on, kind of a jazz flavor. We got on Daystar Christian Television last year, and represented Canada as the first ever gospel group from Canada. And it was an experience in itself, a gospel music showcase with Guy Penrod from the Gaithers. And I worked with a group called One Connection, a Christian gospel, Caribbean gospel reggae. And right now I'm also a co-host on a radio show, TV show called Vision Genesis 39 with Minister Elisha Smelly. We're on Wednesdays and Saturday nights, so shameless plug there, 6 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Central. And we interview artists from all over the world. So my charge is to bring everybody in. So that's pretty much it.
Wow, that's a lot of music there. Is there any music you haven't done, Rob?
Well, I did sing off Broadway, as a matter of fact, in New York City years ago. And,
wow.
And Vision TV, I was with Sharon Riley and Stephen Lewis, something called Gospel Challenge. Just got involved with that. Yeah, I've had a little bit of different experiences, both theatrical and actual singing. Yeah.
So how do you find it different? Like, because I've been a bit of a theater too. How do you find the performance side of theater as opposed to singing a song that you've written, perhaps?
Oh boy. I was in a musical in Edmonton called Tent Meeting with Morris Ertman. He was an MFA over there. It was my first ever experience, and I was chosen not because of my acting ability, obviously, but because the singing ability. And it was the same year that my dad died, and the same month that I had to deal with that, and went down to Calgary from Edmonton. And that was an experience that I have. But they teach you acting ability, and they teach you different things, and you have to get over your emotion. And a teacher at college and Grant McEwen in Edmonton taught me in voice jazz there. She taught me how to look over people's heads, also how to work with things ahead of time so you get a rehearsed way of looking at things rather than letting your emotions get into it. And but when you're just doing a theatrical position, being paid for it, it's a job. When you're singing something that you originally written, that's a whole different ballgame. It's more an inspiration from God, at least for me. And I've been writing music a little bit off and on since probably in my early 20s. And when I was in Bible school, I wrote a song called I'm Lonely, Ever So Lonely, and I was single at the time. So I guess that came into play. But no, as far as writing over the years, it's been more like tunes, melody type of thing. And then the words would come later.
So you start off with the melody first. The music is kind of where you start, and then you put the lyrics on top. Is that normative for you, or is that like, for instance,
Yeah.
let's look at the song that we got on the album that you did for the Christmas song. Talk a bit about that, for instance.
Well, I came up with the melody of that about 27, 28 years ago at a church at Glad Tidings Pentecostal Church up in Marley. And that's where Pat Russell went to church at one time, and a whole bunch of people, Karen Burke and her husband, and we were all connected with them somehow. And yeah, I was just fooling around on the keyboard, just playing around on the keyboard. You know, and just kind of doing licks. And after a while, it came to me, that's a Christmas song, and it's a Latin type of song. And I just started out with "Happy Birthday, Jesus Christ. Today's your special day," and I couldn't come up with anything for a long time. And a number of years later, I was working on my solo CD, which was 2017. A young lady by the name of Tashara Briscoe was my backup singer, and she's also a writer in her own right, and here in Toronto. And I was telling her about the song, and she started suggesting a few things, listening to it and stuff. And so she would suggest a thought, and all of a sudden the writer's block went boom. It was gone, and I started writing. And but I gave her credit for 40% of the song because she spent a year with me, helping me out for free, basically. And it was awesome. And but it turned out to be a special day instead of "Happy Birthday, Jesus Christ" is what we thought we would originally do it. A special day, it turned out to be the main centerpiece of the song. It was a special day when Jesus was born for us. So yeah, that's basically how.
And Tashara is a good supporter of GMIHub, whether she knows it or not. I'm getting some questions from the audience right now, and this is for everybody. What was the biggest hurdle for your song? Was there any hurdles?
Getting the words. I was working on 3 or 4 other songs at the same time. Spirit of God, I worked on a number of years ago. I had that down bang, pretty much. I had an old song called, remember that song, Spirit of the Living God, Fall Fresh on Me? And so that was an influence, and all of a sudden I got Spirit of the Living God, Spirit of the Living God. So those songs are fairly easy. And then I was working with Toronto Mass at the time, so I was able to, come up pretty quickly. But a song like that one took a lot longer, and I've never, ever written a Christmas song before in my life. So that was totally different. And I was also kind of handicapped by people telling me in my past, and it kind of came into my adulthood, oh, you'll never do this, you'll never do that, So but God showed me I can with him. And so slowly but surely, we got these things happening. But it did take me a long time. The biggest hurdle was trying to figure out the right lyrics to fit into it. So, but the tune was there, and I always had in the middle, ba 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 da 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 da. I kind of had a jazz sort of a thing in the middle, like a Latino thing, but the words were the hardest.
So in this particular arrangement that we have a copy of, was this your playing? Was it you playing the instruments, or was it someone else?
No, I played the original for them, and my student producer, or my studio producer, I should say, Gedford Brown. He was the one that, they did their magic with the instruments and everything. It was all done through computer, pretty much. And but I laid everything down on keyboard because I do play a little bit of keyboard, not much. But, I wouldn't play for anybody, but just enough so that they got an idea what it was, and I explained them how I wanted. And then they put this little Caribbean sort of a Latino flavor. I already had it in there in mind, but they just kind of enhanced it a little bit more.
So that's interesting. So I'm just trying to think what other instruments were in there. It was mostly keyboard, like electronic keyboard, I remember hearing.
A little bit of bass in there, possibly. I think there was, I'm trying to remember what else was in there, but it was all done through the different things you put in on the keyboard. I was in there the whole time, but I was like trying to remember it now. So
yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so how about this? Because I'm seeing the time, we should probably get a nice little sample of hearing this song from Rob. Rob Rose. This is a song called "Special Day." Well, he says jazz, but no.
With a
Oh, you'll
Latino
hear
Caribbean flavor. Yeah.
a little bit
very-
of a Caribbean flavor. So
Yeah.
adding a little bit of warmth to what normally would be a cold season here in Canada.
Yeah.
So here we have it, "Special Day" by Rob Rose.
A very long time ago, so the Bible say, Mary gave birth to Jesus Christ on the special day. Happy birthday, Jesus Christ, today's your special day. We join to celebrate you, Lord, on this Christmas day. Let the nations join to sing to the King of all kings, for he was sent to earth to give to birth to all who will receive. He lived a truly sinless life and died to set us free from this broken, troubled world. He truly rescued me.
And there you have it. There is Robert Rose's song.
You get that
Really?
island feel.
Nice little island feel. I was trying to see if I could remember the move there, Rob. Your wife's gonna have to show me a few things, huh? Well, the audience is really intrigued with all of you, and there are some more questions. Now, I will repeat the one question because Rob answered it, the biggest hurdle for the song. Victor and Vili, did you have any hurdles with your songs as well? And if so, what were your biggest hurdles?
Go ahead, Vili.
Give me a second.
Yeah,
Let me
just
think.
one, just one.
Okay, I can start, I guess. It was a bit of a crunch time at the end. We had to have the songs done by a certain time. And I realized my song was about a minute too long.
Yes.
So I had to come to some conclusions. Should it be faster? Yes, it should be faster. And do I need to cut anything out? So I actually cut out my original bridge, and I put all my eggs in that basket. But I thought, okay, let's start something over again. And I had a smaller bridge, and it actually fit better than the original. So it was kind of a nice mistake, or a nice change.
Cool. What about you, Vili?
Well, I spent quite a lot of time on the key change because it starts in F. I'll just show you. This is what I gave to the band when I was doing it. Just some chord charts. But anyways, I spent so much time because I didn't want it to be obvious. So I went from F to A flat, and it worked out great. And then also the ending, how long I wanted the ending to repeat, because I knew I wanted it to build the voices to get more to stack on top of each other to the very end of the song. So I spent quite a bit of time on those two things, just refining and figuring out how I wanted to do it.
These are very real challenges, the length of song as well as the key. Like, you want to be singing in the key that allows your voice to shine, so to speak, audibly. That's possible, audibly shine. So very.
I wanted to stay in a flat key because if I started in F, I didn't want to go to G or F sharp.
Right.
So I want to stay in a flat key. So I went to A flat because that would be more kind of like a jazz thing. Or in a, so.
Okay, here's another. So here's another question from the audience. What or would you do anything different with your songs?
I think if I could make mine over again, I would, preferably, and be with a full band.
Would it be a live band?
Preferably, yeah.
Yeah. So is that in the back of your head that the next goal is you're going to redo that song with a live band?
That and some of the other songs I got on my special day CD.
Oh, awesome. That would be wonderful to hear.
Mm.
Victor, Vili, would you do anything different with your songs?
Well, I think myself, I tend to layer my songs a lot with a lot of different instruments. And sometimes I can over layer things, put too many instruments in. And I think I limited myself a little bit on this, and I was pleased with the result. So yeah, I
well,
held back a little bit. It was
yeah,
better for me.
sometimes less is more, right, Victor? And I
Mhm,
think that
mhm.
that does show some dynamics as well if you're able to take out some instruments instead of adding more. That's great
Mhm.
ideas. Yeah.
Vili, would you do anything different with your song?
I think as an artist, you know, as time goes on, you always find something. Oh, I could have done that differently. I could have sang that differently. Oh, I could have put this instrument in. I mean, at some point, you just have to say it's done and just release it out into the world and put a smile on your face. And say, thank you, God, for giving me this song.
I hear you.
And you do put a smile. You do offer that smile, Vili.
Thank you, Victor. I appreciate that. You too.
Thank you.
I'm just seeing if there's other questions. Well, Dale, do you have any other questions? Those are what I'm seeing from the audience. The rest are just little.
I'm thinking about each one of
comment.
you gentlemen probably have a family member that's affected by your music ministry. How has it affected your circle of friends and family? You're like Vili, maybe have you done gigs lately, or Rob or Victor, what you're doing is artistically. What is that support group like for you?
Well, it looks like Vili's still thinking, so go ahead. So yeah, you know what? When my grandchildren showed up in my life, suddenly I had a new energy for music. And it's like I started writing songs with my grandkids. It's crazy. So yeah, it was that was a bit of an energizer. And my daughter is a musician too. She leads worship and does a lot of singing. So
she has a beautiful voice. I've heard her sing, and she has a fabulous voice.
She's the singer of the family.
Yeah.
And so that's always an inspiration. And my wife is supportive, very supportive. It's all good. It's all good over here.
And you have some friends too, right? You have some friends that kind of poke you and encourage you in the right direction.
Yeah. Not this guy though.
Oh yeah.
Who's that?
That's Psy from Gangnam Style.
Oh.
Actually, I'd like to mention something if I could.
Sure.
Yeah, when I recorded my songs, I took my daughter. She's
cool.
10 years old, to the studio, and she was with me. So it was nice for her to see her father, do what he loves to do. And she loves music herself. She loves the group Blackpink. It's a Korean K-pop band, and she's really into music. So it was just nice to have her to be a part of it, and she always helps me. She actually took some of the photos that I did in my on my album. So that was very nice of her in the studio. So it was just a nice experience to share that with her, is what I'm saying.
And how old is she again, Vili?
She's 10 years old.
10 years old. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, kudos. She did an awesome job. If you see those photos, you wouldn't think it was done by a 10-year-old. It was beautiful.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
She's got a good eye.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's really small, but yeah, it's cool. So Rob, what about you? How about the influences or the support of your friends and family?
Well, mine was totally different. My family lives out west, so 2006 is when I did my demo, and then I went immediately out to Alberta in 2007, and singing in front of a Southern gospel, country, Western audience doing reggae and soul gospel and Southern wasn't quite the same. And so most of the people I hung around with, Cheryl will attest to, mostly from the Caribbean background for a long time. And my wife was from the Caribbean, so most of the people I hang with, musicians and everything, all Trinidadian, Jamaican, some African. And so it's a very different culture. Sometimes when I step back into working with regular Canadians and anything, it's almost a culture shock. And it might sound a little hard to believe, but I've been that immersed. And but it's different. So most of the people that listen to my music and started writing me and asking me to send me their music were people that couldn't believe a white guy would do reggae. And so the other music that I do is somewhat dancehall reggae type music. And I had people writing from England or from all over wanting to hear it. And I was wondering, what on earth? So, but after a while, I got used to it, And but one guy asked me one time, he says, how is it that you're playing reggae? I said, well, coming out of jazz and blues and R&B and soul, it wasn't that big of a stretch, it's just a groove. So it's a different groove. And so my influences have been very varied over the years. And my family, they have their own taste, in music. So I'm sort of out here on my own. But I've got a lot of good friends in the West Indies and America that seem to be helping me a lot as far as encouraging. So
That's great.
I have a question from the audience again. If you could write with anybody, who would it be?
Someone who does exist or has existed or still lives. Or the question.
I might like to work with Brian Wilson or Bob Dylan or somebody like that. Yeah, a dream world.
In the dream world, nice.
Good question.
Victor, Rob?
that's an interesting question.
I guess I'd want to write with somebody who has a similar approach to music. I have to think of who that person is, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Yes,
I like working with people with a sense of imagination, and they're fun to work with. I think the song would take care of itself once you just find the right person you're working with. Not necessarily their skill level, but just that unity of spirit that'll allow you to be as good as you can be and allow them to be as good as they can be. I think that's my formula.
Here's a question, and I'm just curious. If there was another person who could sing your songs, what person would you kind of go, oh, I'm so happy they're singing my song? If there was that kind of a person that existed for you. I'm asking tough questions, I know.
I have an answer, but these guys haven't answered enough.
Yeah.
There were so many people. So many people.
So many people.
Just to have anybody cover your song is an honor. You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
That's true. That's true. Victor, what's your thought?
Well, sometimes I write songs that are not in my range. So sometimes I need a tenor to take my part and me to sit in the background. Or like I'm writing a song now about Jonah, and it's way too high for me, but I'm squeaking out some notes right now. But if I had somebody like a Dale Borland, he would probably nail it. He's got a rocky voice.
Yeah.
Well, you've got three tenors, I think, right here.
Right.
So you can take your pick. Wow. Well, any, mini, mighty, mo, exactly.
Right.
You sing tenor?
I said 10 or 11, whatever it takes. I'll do it. Hey, I just want to thank you guys for joining us today on our show, the GMIHub Online and the Songwriters Circle. It's been so good to have you at home or wherever you are watching this, and also for these guys to join us. And Cheryl and myself are so just privileged to be here and get a chance for you guys to actually meet each other as well. And so if you're viewing this and you like what you see, please tell other friends about it. Let them know about the GMIHub Online. The Gospel Music Industry Hub is what it's all about: unity, community, mentorship, and talent growth. And in those areas, we want to try and help to develop artists in ways maybe even they didn't think possible, whether that be in their musicality, or maybe that be in their songwriting, or in their on-camera work, or even just talking in interviews. These things are all part and parcel of being an artist. So I just want to thank you guys for watching at home. It's been really good.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. It was an honor. God bless you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you.
And it was an honor having all of you here with us. I have nothing more to say except we'll see you next time.